Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is the Book Break. And today I have a special episode for you where I am talking to the owner of an independently owned bookstore in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we all love our independently owned bookstores, and I'm so excited to bring her in. Her name is Ann Holman, and she is one of the owners of the King's English Bookstore in Salt Lake City, Utah. So let's bring her in. Hi,
How are you?
Ann. Good. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for asking me. This is really fun.
Yeah. So for those that haven't known about you yet, I'm excited they're going to get to. Tell us a little bit about the story of King's English because you guys have been around a long time, and even when other independent bookstores closed, you guys have still been around.
We turned 43 years old last week, and that I think is something to be proud of. One of the
Absolutely.
things that my partner Betsy Burton started the bookstore in 1977, and one of the things that she did, one of the most important things she did was buy the building. And so we've always been able to keep our rent low, keep our property up, and keep it to ourselves. And it's allowed us to stay in business with the advent of the chains, with the advent of online shopping. It's been one of the most important things we've done. And also, we're in a small neighborhood in Salt Lake City, just a little bit south of the university, and so we kind of blend in. We're like a little house, and we're in a little neighborhood of houses.
Yeah. And you guys have really been a staple bookstore here in Salt Lake City. I know back even as long ago as 2004 when I was working in publishing, it was fun to think, hey, let's get a signing at King's English. And you guys have done events for a long time. Tell me a little bit more about the events that you have done and what are events looking like now with COVID times?
Well, they are very different now. We are fortunate, we think, in Utah to have a disproportionate number of local authors of all ages. That's Rob, our storyteller, if you can see the screen right now. Anyway, we feel really strongly that supporting them is our mission. And so we do a lot of launches, debut authors, and most of those authors stay with us for the duration of their careers. Shannon Hale, Brandon Mull, and Cannon. It's a really long list of people who we count as friends. So we've been doing events like that for as long as we've been open. I would say over the past 15 years, events have become more and more important. I don't know that it's necessarily the advent of the Harry Potter parties, but I feel like Harry Potter had a lot to do with it. We are still doing as many events as we can. It's all virtual now, so it is a whole new world for us. We are also closed to the public right now and doing curbside. So for a bunch of English majors who just want to talk to you about books, we've had to completely pivot and reinvent ourselves. So we're doing virtual events
And
where
where can we go and learn more about what these virtual events are?
so we're posting them on our website. A lot of times you can just click right through to the event on the website. A lot of them are on Crowdcast. We are doing a few on Zoom. Again, whole new territory. We're learning as we go. We also post them on Facebook, so you can click in there and attend. And we're trying to make as many of them as we can free events so people can just enjoy them. And it's just different. We used to have a big event staff and we would be setting up chairs and ordering books and maybe having a little bit of lemonade here and there. And now you literally click on a button and you're in this virtual room with the authors, which what we're finding is, okay, it has some downsides, but it also has some upsides because we can bring in authors that don't live near each other. Actually, a perfect example, we do a lot of work with the Teen Author Boot Camp.
Mm-hmm.
They It's a massive festival that happens every year. It just happened last Saturday. Over 1,000 teenagers. We do it at the Provo Convention Center, and it's had to be virtual this year. And to their credit, they really pivoted. And so we set up a bookstore online where you could buy the books of these. I don't know, it's 30 or 40, maybe 40 different authors. And so these kids got into these rooms, they had these virtual seminars, and then they can buy the authors' books from our website. And then the authors have all sent book plates. So it's not the same as meeting the author in person, but you still get the book, you still get a signed book plate, and you still have the experience of meeting these authors. And so they got to meet Marissa Meyer, Brandon Sanderson, Kirsten Nielsen, and because it was open to everybody, we had kids from all over the country participating, that's gratifying.
Yeah. And, I think that how you have to adjust for the current environment with COVID. I mean, this is a perfect example. I am actually here in the Salt Lake City area, and normally I would be there in your store interviewing you, but instead we're doing it virtual.
Right.
So what I've seen is a lot of physical bookstores have struggled with the closing of stores through COVID. Tell us a little bit more about how this has affected King's English, and what can this reading community do to support our independently owned bookstores?
Well, thank you for asking. We started in March by closing our doors and trying to figure out what this was going to look like. And for a while, it was okay. People were still ordering books. People were trying to support us. And then with the advent of Black Lives Matter, honestly, we were selling those books hand over fist, and very importantly. And we still are to some extent. And I think just as this COVID has continued, people got tired. People started going to stores that were open. And for those people that have been in our store before, it's really small. It's really hard to social distance. And a lot of our booksellers are in their 60s and 70s. And so right now, we just don't feel like being open is an option. So while we were watching our sales dwindle, we sent out a call for help a couple weeks ago and just said, we need help. And whatever that looks like for you, we are happy to talk. Mostly think about shopping with us instead of shopping online. Think about doing your Christmas shopping now, so that in November and December, we've already made enough money to survive. We've been able to make payroll. We've been able to pay our publishers, which is very important. These books have to keep coming. And I have to say, I have never, I mean, I don't want to start crying when I say this, but the outpouring of love and support and kindness has been something that I've never experienced in my life. And especially the local authors. They have a listserv called Rock Canyon.
Yeah.
You can only be on Rock Canyon if you're a published author. And I know that they're talking back and forth about ways to help us, because they email and they call and they're sending people our way. We're getting book orders from all over the country, and we don't know these people, and they don't always leave a note, but sometimes they'll say, oh, hey, Shannon Hale sent me your way, or Kaylin Flanders sent me your way. They're doing online campaigns. I'll sign the books if you buy them from the King's English. We have so much business now that we can't keep up. And that's such a fantastic problem to have. We're working tonight to get everybody's orders processed and say thank you, and trying to figure out how to say thank you in a way that's big enough for this big show of support. So
yeah, that's great. And I know, in case anybody out there is watching and thinking, oh, if they can't keep up, then I shouldn't order. I'm going to tell you guys, you should order, because I know you guys and you've been around a long time. I know you keep up. So even though you're thinking maybe I can't keep up, I know that maybe not keeping up for you might look as in you're not as fast as you would like to be. But
we're definitely not an online warehouse. We don't have a bunch of conveyor belts, and we don't have a bunch of algorithms. So we are literally carrying books back and forth and going, hey, have you seen that Will Moore book? Because I can't find it. I mean, it's pretty funny most of the time, but we're doing our level best, and we're very grateful for it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and I'm lucky enough to live in the Utah area, and we have some fantastic authors here that are local, and you've mentioned some of those. And I think that it's really important for authors everywhere and for the readers, because a lot of us, I think our default is probably to order from Amazon. And while Amazon is great and they are that big warehouse, it's so important to support the local stores, and they support, like we've mentioned, some of those first-time authors. I don't know how many people out there remember when Brandon Mull was still new, and he was a local Utah author, and the King's English supported him. And now look where he's at.
Right.
We've got J. Scott Savage. He's another one that's a local author. Dan Wells, another local author. I mean, we've got some really incredible local authors. David Farland is another one. And so I think even for those that don't live in Utah, when you come to Utah, the King's English Bookstore is really a destination. I mean, if you haven't been there, it needs to be on your tourist list. If you're in the writing community or the reading community, that needs to be on your list of places to go.
And we have a great bakery across the street, so you can get the most amazing sticky buns.
Oh,
Hands after you want to come in the bookstore, but it's a great little one-block shopping area. There's nothing quite like it. And we're very proud of not just the King's English, but the block. It's something to behold in Salt Lake.
That's fantastic. So where is your bookstore located so that when people come in, they know where to go?
So we are on the corner of 15th East and 15th South. And when you're driving through the neighborhood, it comes right up on you. And you're always surprised because you think you're not going to see it. It's a little blue house. We have 3 parking spaces, which we think is very funny, but lots of street parking. And we've been here for 43 years, and
that's great.
We'll be here for at least another 43.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, Anna. It's been so nice having you.
Thanks a lot, Melissa. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And thank you all for joining us here on the Book Break. I'll see you next time.